What's up, Taiwan? I'm Rik Glauert with 10 minutes of news from here in Taiwan and around the world. First up, the Ministry of National Defense is playing down a US media report that says there is a backlog of American weapons bound for Taiwan worth nearly $19 billion US.
那么整体来说，目前所有美方对我们的军售都按照程序进行。那么至于这些执行当中的案子，它的细节进度，那么都属于双方的一个机密，我们不会对外做一个明确的说明。
According to the Wall Street Journal, weapons orders from the US have been delayed by the war in Ukraine. A total of more than 400 anti-tank and anti-air missiles purchased in 2015 are yet to be delivered. Other orders have also been pushed back due to production issues. Taiwan's defense forces have been trying to stock up on more mobile and cost-effective arms to defend against increasing military aggression from China. Protests in China against strict COVID-19 measures have triggered rallies of support around the world, including here in Taiwan. But so far, Chinese students studying here have remained generally quiet on the issue. Rik Glauert explains.
More police on the streets of China's major cities. Authorities have strengthened security after unprecedented protests on Sunday against the government's strict COVID-19 rules. Several protesters were arrested, while others were interrogated and released. Chinese citizens around the world have shown support for the protests, but for some Hong Kong or Chinese students studying in Taiwan, it's fear of reprisal stopping them from speaking out.
要你们说不要拍到我样子，拍到我名字，其实不是我怕我自己人身自由的问题，不是怕我安全的问题，我是怕我家人有事。
A vigil was held in Taipei on Sunday in support of the Chinese protests. Some mainland students were there, but they generally kept a low profile.
昨天就是有在六广场办那个行动，然后还是有不少路上到的，然后就这些当时的朋友到前面嘛，还是会觉得蛮感动的吧，然后有这样一些很勇敢的表达。
For their part, Taiwanese students are getting more involved. Blank pieces of paper, a symbol of protest in China, are popping up across campuses.
对于这件事情其实蛮乐见的，毕竟大陆的被隔离太多时间，他们其实受不了了。
Another rally is planned in Taipei on the 4th of December. More people will be speaking out in support of China's protesters, so Chinese students here won't have to put themselves in the spotlight. Patrick Chen and Rik Glauert for TaiwanPlus.
The head of the US Representative Office in Taipei has announced what it hopes to achieve in supporting Taiwan. Sandra Aldkirk, the de facto US ambassador to Taiwan, says the US will support Taiwan's defense and cybersecurity. In diplomacy, the US backs expanding Taiwan's international space and deepening personal connections. Economically, the US supports stronger trade ties and building global supply chain resilience. Aldkirk also says the results of last weekend's elections will not change the way the US works with Taiwan.
The United States takes its responsibilities under the Taiwan Relations Act very, very seriously. We will work with the elected leaders to craft a defense sales program that is appropriate to the capabilities that Taiwan needs. This has been something that the United States has done for decades and that we will continue to do whatever happens in any future election, regardless of who wins or loses.
A job website here in Taiwan says about 80% of local companies plan to give their staff a year-end bonus this year. The survey said the average bonus will be 1.23 months' salary. That's the highest amount in 3 years. Year-end bonuses have dropped since the beginning of the pandemic. Now, with restrictions being eased, industries are getting back to normal and able to give better benefits. Meanwhile, the Transport Ministry has announced plans to make Taiwan's roads safer. That's as the number of fatal accidents this year surpasses 2,000. John Van Triest has the details.
Scooters are one of the most popular ways of getting around in Taiwan, but they can be dangerous. From January to September, more than half of the 2,200 fatal accidents on Taiwan's roads involved at least one scooter. Officials think this may have to do with Taiwan's scooter licensing system. The practical part of the driving test happens on a closed course with no traffic. Test takers don't have to show that they can drive safely under real conditions. That could be about to change. From April next year, driving school students will be able to opt for real-world training. The government will pay them close to $40 for doing 3 hours of supervised on-road driving. The course will be optional, at least in the beginning.
道路的训练呢，我们先看它的成果。如果需要纳入我们整个取到执照里面的一部分，我们等到明年实施一段时间再做一个确定的时间。
But scooters aren't the only problem. The Transport Ministry plans to add traffic signs or signals to 3,000 dangerous intersections. Officials say clearer traffic directions will help older drivers in particular. Older adults caused 10% more accidents from January to September this year than they did during the same period last year. And as Taiwan's population ages, the number of older drivers is set to grow.
示范一个叫高龄友善区，就是说在也选择1到2个县市的高龄事故比较多的地区来进行这个高龄友善区的一个示范。
The Transport Ministry says it's ready to work with local governments to bring down the number of accidents and make driving in Taiwan safer. And it believes changes like these could be the start. Klein Wang and John Van Trieste for TaiwanPlus.
Over in South Korea, the government has ordered around 2,500 truckers to end a week-long strike and go back to work. South Korea's President Yoon Suk-yeol said the strike was hurting the country's economy. Yoon also invoked a tough strike-busting law. Those that break the law could face a fine of up to $22,000 and up to 3 years in jail. The truckers are demanding higher pay and have denounced the law as unconstitutional. Now, we all know how much the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted life across the world. But there's one area in Taiwan's southeastern city of Taidong that has benefited. Louise Watt has this story.
This is the 280-hectare Taidong Forest Park. It has lakes, scenic views, and, unusually, white-breasted water hens and eastern spot-billed ducks. They're being spotted in and around the lakes. Because of the pandemic, there have been fewer human visitors to the park, and so the types of birds seen here are becoming more diverse.
包括一些像冬候鸟的部分，它也会来这边过冬啊，或者是有产下一些后代，也留在我们园区里面。
The common kingfishers, which perch on lotus leaves as they wait for food, are no longer scared of humans. Also spotted in the park, a lost owl that was rescued after getting tangled in a vine.
因为中间有一段疫情的期间，我们整个森林公园在整个生态方面，恢复的其实还不错。
While the bird population has been renewed, the pandemic has taken a toll on the park in other ways. Revenue from entrance tickets has fallen by around 40% from the more than $300,000 it used to earn each year. But staff are happy to welcome their new guests. They're also encouraging people to flock back to the park, but while keeping a distance from the birds. Ricky and Louise Watt for TaiwanPlus.
In other bird-related news, Kestrels are beginning to make their annual winter migration to Taiwan. The birds of prey are a protected species under Taiwanese law. They overwinter in the country's coastal wetlands and mountains, where they eat bugs, other birds, and even small mammals. A photographer in Taiwan's southeast has captured some of this season's first arrivals. Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. Remember to download the TaiwanPlus app for more stories from Taiwan and around the world. Finally today, we leave you with images of over 2,000 dancers gathered in Venezuela, breaking a Guinness World Record for the world's largest salsa rueda, or the round dance. I'm Rik Glauert. Take care, and we will see you next time.